Thank you so much. What's going on, everybody? You can take two. What's going on, everybody? My name is Z Robinson. I do stuff for ZBrush. Maxon, how you guys doing? Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Cut, scrap that, rewind. There we go. All good in the hood, as we say. So, how's everybody doing? I'm just going ahead and posting real quick a thing, just saying I'm live. You know, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. So let's go ahead and go boop to your story. Awesome. So how's everybody doing? So we're going to be continuing this this amazing little Deadpool character. We have a few things to do. We still have some cleanup on it where I want to actually, you know, fix the gloves, maybe tidy up a few things, and then of course too we got to make his coffee cup because we're going to eventually pose him. But I do want to make him animation ready. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff there. So what's going on, Mel, Jamie? How you guys doing? Aki, how you doing? Perdan Duck. How's it going? Hello, hello. So, of course, if you guys don't know, I'm the guy you can always ask questions when it comes to ZBrush. And if I don't know the answer, I'll definitely point you into the direction to find said answer. So if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to let me know as we move along. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So let's do a little quick recap. So here is our guy. And like I said, right now he's pretty well blocked out. So if we were to just go ahead and turn the color off for just a second, and then let's just do a quick little BPR render here. You can see here he's pretty low poly, which is good because again we're going to want to be able to make it so he's animation ready. So we do want some nice clean topology, and then of course too taking a look at like his face and stuff like that. There's just luckily there's not you know, there's not too much more. Like I think I'm going to kind of avoid doing a manual retopo on him at least for right now, and we'll see how he deforms, because I don't expect a whole lot of facial expression if we do any animation with him, except for in the eye area. So we may have to go through and clean up some loops, but that's later down the line. I'm not worried about that now. We're still in the design phase. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. What's going on, Seven? Hello, hello. All right, we're gonna stamp him right here. Let's move this into, it's a little bit more comfortable for me. And let's get some music going because I like my tunes. That's how I work. So we're gonna hit play on that. And hopefully you guys can hear the music, but I think we found a good volume the last time. Does ZBrush have a plugin for substance files? As far as I'm aware of, the answer is no. There's no plugin for that. However, you can bring in the maps manually. So if you have maps that you want to bring back into Substance, all you need to do is come over here. You can put in your albedo map under your texture. You can put in your height or displacement map over here under displacement map, and of course you can put your normal maps here. So if you wanted to bring a lot of that information back in, you can do it via your UV maps, which is a great way to go about it as well, which I've done that before. And if you are using height or displacement map, there is a little button here called Apply Displacement Map. And what this will do is if you have a displacement map that you're bringing in from Substance or another program and you want to turn that into some geometry, by a click of a button, you can actually turn that information back. So if you've pushed some height information or whatnot, then that would be a way to go about doing it. So that's one way. Of course, what you'll need to do is you turn it, you know, load it in, turn it on, and then there's an intensity slider, and you can adjust the intensity as see fit. So that's something that you can do. All right, so let's go ahead and work on, I'm going to work on the gloves right now. Does it have inbuilt alpha maps? So basically, true black in ZBrush is invisible. If that's the easiest way to answer that question. So if you bring in an alpha map, yeah, if you bring in something that has true black, it should be invisible to ZBrush. ZBrush doesn't have a ton of workflows that are coming back in from bringing in a lot of that information into the program. Again, ZBrush's been around for like 20 plus years, and it has some workarounds and stuff like that. But when you're bringing map information in whatsoever, again, you can bring in your alphas, and like I said, true black is invisible to ZBrush. So if you had something, let's see if I have a good example here actually. Yeah, so up here in this area, if I were to load in one of these alphas, you'll see here that the black immediately disappears. So that's the whole point. So true black is always invisible. Okay, I thought I could, as I want, to try my own material, expose parameters in ZBrush, though I don't understand, is more focused on sculpting. Not a problem, not a problem. All right, so what I want to do is what I want to do is start getting some of his fingertips did in a nice little way, because we actually have, my mouse is over here. I'll show you what we're going to be going for here in a second. So I was looking up some of these DP gloves, and most of them have like black paneling on the top here and then some black fingertips. It's usually like 3 materials. So I'm probably going to separate this hand to be just that. So we're going to have like basically a wrap that goes around his hand. Then we'll have some mesh. So I'm going to separate these pieces out so it's not all connected, but I'll keep it all in the same subtool, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and work on that piece. And just for the sake of argument and fun, we're going to go ahead and literally just work on one glove. So I'm going to delete the other one here. So make sure there's no subdivisions. Let's go ahead and hide this guy. Let's turn off symmetry. We'll hide him. We'll come in and we'll delete hidden. And now we just have the one that we'll just work on. And that will be good enough. And we kept this pretty low poly. So I'm going to come in and not mask. Let's come in and actually just select. Grab your selection brush. There we go. We're going to come in and we're going to just select this section here. Come in and select this loop here. And come in and select this loop here. Make sure our loops are pretty clean. So what we can do is come in and we can see that we missed a couple pieces. So we'll go ahead and take this one off and this one off. We'll be very selective with our selection. I'm going to go ahead and just give this a new poly group, flip this over, and now these have different poly groups as well. Let's also do the thumb. So I'm going to come in and select this guy, take a look at the finger, make sure it's good, come up with a different color. Say something like that. Perfect. I try to keep my poly groups somewhat contrasty, meaning like I really want the colors to be very different. So because of that, I try to find more bright colors. Yes, sorry about the noise. Yeah, a lot of ambulance going in the background. Welcome to LA. What's up, PW? How you doing? Last question, can VDMs be exported as an image file? Ooh, that's a good question. I've never tried that. What you could do, let me see here real quick. Let me actually bring in a plane real fast. There we go. Let's grab a plane real quick. What you could do is turn your mesh into an alpha. You could do that pretty, that was my go-to thought. So VDM here, so let's just grab a chisel brush here. Let's see real fast. I want to see something. If I were to just save as, no, okay, you can't just save the brush as such. So if I were to change my VDM here, like if I were to direct, let's get some resolution. Boom, we have an eye. We have an eye. So right here, you have your 3D alpha. That's typical. So you could just come in here and export this out. And this could be exported out. Here, let's do this. Let's just export this test out. I'm curious now. And we're going to load up Photoshop real quick just to kind of see what that gives us. You should be able to just export that out, which would then be a 2D image. So let's see what we got, because it's usually alphas are driving it. The difference between a VDM brush and a typical alpha is the fact that it has this little 3D above it. So let's do this. Let's put up Photoshop real fast just so we can see. Let's go ahead and go open, because that's a great question. Let's go on my computer. Let's search. Let's search for stuff and things. Let's come up here to this. Let's open this up. And in theory, it should. Yep, there you go. Opens up as an image. So yeah, you can take those VDMs. Okay, that's fine. So you can take those VDMs and just export out the image. So whatever brush you have associated, just do that. So yes. I've never tried that before. In theory, that makes sense though. So yeah, just select whichever one you want. So here's the nose, here's the other nose, here's the ear. just come down here, grab this and export. The other way I was thinking about, because I was going to tangent for a second, was coming up here to alpha export, which would have been the same thing. But you also could do like a grab doc. But then why do that when you literally can just come here and export? So I was going to go the long way around. We don't need to do that. Hey, what's up, Witchcat? How you doing? How you doing? What's up, Casey? How's it going? Is ZBrush hard for beginners? You know, it depends on the person, to be honest with you. I don't think it's incredibly difficult. I think it's very different, especially since ZBrush has been around for a long time, and ZBrush was invented when there was no UDIMs. It was invented when there wasn't a whole lot of like high-end programs being dedicated to studios. ZBrush came in and changed the game. So before then, you were doing a lot of box modeling and stuff like that, and then eventually ZBrush came in and allowed you to flip it, do the creation process, then turn around and worry about topology later. Because it was an industry game changer, it kind of made its own footing in its own way. So when you look at it from the very beginning of this project right here, it could be a lot to look at first. But let's start from the beginning. Like, I'll give you like a very beginning basic tutorial. Like, so much so I'll shut down my program here. And let's do this. Like, this is how I recommend you get into ZBrush. This is like we have a getting started series that we did with Anna Carolina, which really helps out, and I'll share that link here in a second. But let's just real quick, getting started in ZBrush. First off, you load up ZBrush, this is what you get. You get a nice home page that basically showcases all the things that are coming up. So, you know, I did a 3D printing series last month where we covered basic key cutting and how to go through and all the different ways you can do that in one video. And then we did another one where it talked about how to actually separate your model and, you know, create nice separation to have emerging for your parts. And then from there, we also had a guest, Scott Unruh, came in and showcased more stuff while I was at GDC. And then we wrapped it up when we had Tama from Lychee Slicer come in. We covered exporting out of ZBrush and into Lychee Slicer. So this is a great series. Definitely check that out. And then, of course, too, we had some other stuff going on. So you just close this down if you don't want any of that information right now because we're not focused. Right here in the very beginning, right here what you got, these are all of your basic starting project files. My recommendation, when you load it up, ignore everything you see except for this default sphere right here, default project. You're gonna go ahead and double click that, and that's gonna load up your sphere. The two things you wanna know is where are your brushes and how to navigate. So the navigation is really simple. Recommend you use a pen, but let's say you have a mouse. Even still, what you're gonna do is anywhere in this open space, if I just click and rotate, so that's left click. If I just left click and rotate, I can that's it. I'm just clicking and moving my mouse or my pen, and that is gonna just do that. If I press and hold the Alt or Option button, so while I'm pressing that button and I click in that open space, I can pan. And then all I need to do to zoom in and out is while I'm having my mouse still clicked, let go of Alt and I can zoom in and out. And the reason for this is because it's made to actually have you sculpt fast. So I can come in here, zoom in real quick, make some sculpting stuff. I can right click, rotate, so I'm not clicking my left mouse, I'm just right clicking and hovering over the sphere. Right click army for the win, right? And I can navigate this way. So I could come in and use the right click as well. So that's it. And you just want to practice that for a little bit. And once you practice this for a little bit, it gets really comfortable really, really fast. So very, very simple. And then Alt or Option has a lot of functionality. If I wanted to cut negatively, like right now you see my brush is adding and it's just a standard brush. If I press and hold Alt, I then can cut in negatively. If I let go, I start adding again. So Alt has a lot of functionality. I can hit F to frame it, and then that's it. That's all you need to know. Just those two things. Just get in there and start navigating. And then the other thing to know is brushes. And what I recommend is when you come up here to the left-hand side and you click your brush palette, you get a lot of brushes. And there are a few brushes that you'll eventually discover over time. One of them is the VDM brushes, very much like what I showed for a second. It's up here at the top. It's a chisel creature brush, and you can literally just add shapes. Now the resolution is low, so there is one thing you can do before you do that, and that is subdivide. and that's just Control D. So I can subdivide a few times, and I can start bringing out some higher resolution. So I can give him an ear, give him a weird mouth here. There we go, and we'll give him a nose. And of course, this is kind of busted, right? So Control Z, and then I can just turn off my symmetry for a second. I'll give him a nice little nose up here, and then I'll give him that same mouth. And then I'm moving around, and there you go. We made a thing. It's weird, but welcome to ZBrush. That's what we do. And then that's pretty much all you need to know to get started in the application. There are other aspects of it that, you know, how to save. Up here on the right-hand side at the very top of tool, you could just come up here and save, and you could save your project. And then if you want to add more subtools, all you need to do is open up the subtool and come over here. So you come up on this right-hand side, which you can move up and down. Open up the subtool menu, come in here and say, oh, I want to insert a cylinder. And then you can move this. And you can move this by hitting W, which will give you your gizmo. And you can move, rotate, or scale. And you can Control Z those as well. So then I can just navigate on over. There we go. And we just made an NFT, and we're good. So, and then it's just practice the sculpting, adding the tools, playing with each of these brushes. Like you said, you have some sculptural brushes, so it allows you to add some sculptural detail. You also have what's called curve brushes, but all I really recommend is that you come in here and play. Here's what a curve brush does. Let's give him some hair. So we have a curve alpha, and we'll give him some hair. Well, we can't do that because we have subdivisions. So one thing I can show you is come over here on the right-hand side to geometry, delete those subdivisions for a second, and then you can draw out some hair. There you go. Boom. And you can click anywhere to get rid of that curve. Control drag will actually clear a mask, and then you're playing. So you can create some really weird, interesting stuff, but and then you just get comfortable in that. And once you get comfortable in that, then you'll check out the Getting Started series, which will help navigate a lot of that stuff. And let me share that right now. So we're gonna come over here, and I'll show you how to get to it. It's really simple, and it's completely free, by the way. So all you need to do is go to maxon.net, and then you'll come over here to Learn, and then you'll come down to Cineversity. Let that load for a second. And then you scroll down and boom, Getting Started with ZBrush. And if you click that guy, Anna will pop up, autoplay for you, and she'll start telling you exactly what to do, which is super fun. So let me go ahead and actually share this link with you and get you going. But again, every piece of software is super different, and you just got to get in and play with it. That's with anything. It doesn't matter if you want to learn ZBrush, Cinema 4D, Redshift, Maya, Blender, 3ds Max, Photoshop, Substance Painter, whatever it is you want to learn, just give yourself like a couple weeks to get in there and just play with the software. And eventually, you'll just start getting super comfortable that you can focus on other things. And the thing to remember, and this is my biggest tip, is that when you are learning how to sculpt for the first time, like you've never touched clay, you've never touched, you know, any type of digital software, maybe you've never 3D before, maybe you've never 2D before. The thing you want to remember is you want to separate your learning structure. You first need to learn the tool. How does the tool operate? So figure out what that tool is. Then you need to learn the artistry behind it. So for me, it's like I need to learn and always study anatomy. I need to learn character design. I need to figure out form and function. I have to understand how something functions and works in the real world in order to display that and have it be somewhat believable in 3D. Well, when you're learning a piece of software and you're learning how to sculpt for the first time, those are two very different learning paths. And a lot of times I see artists, they'll just come in and self-included, guilty, hashtag, I was trying to learn everything all at once. And you're gonna break your brain. And you don't wanna do that. You wanna separate this out into subjects. So think of it like when, you know, if you're in school currently, or if you're like me, who hasn't been in school in a long time, if you think back to when you were in like grade school, middle school, high school, especially middle school, high school, you had your math class, then you had your English class, and then you had your art class and cooking, etc., right? Well, you didn't go into math class and still try to study English. You went into math class and focused only on math. Then when you left, you put that homework away and you went back and you went to English class and then you only focused on English. It's the same idea. When you're learning the tool, learn the tool. When you're ready to learn anatomy, disconnect from the tool and go study anatomy. And then once you're comfortable with what tool you're going to use, now start bringing those studies into the tool. So this way it helps separate it out. It could be a bit of a struggle and that can take some time, but ultimately that's going to help you in the learning curve. So going back to the original question, is it difficult or is it hard to learn ZBrush for beginners? It's all in your structure. At the end of the day, the answer is everything you start at the very beginning is always going to be a little bit difficult. But if you have good tenacity, you really want to learn it, you're passionate about it, you're going to jump over those hurdles really, really early. So hopefully that helps. It was a long-winded answer. But there you go. Ian, Naughty Dog finally hired me as a character artist. Woo! Dude, Afshin, that's awesome, man. Congratulations, dude. Oh, that is so awesome. Congrats. So proud of you, dude. Nice, nice. Okay, cool. Let's see here. During my rant on, let's see, is there a video on what you did for the body of this character? Alex Animation, yes, everything I've done on this character has been live streamed. So you can actually, all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Ian Robinson ZBrush, and you'll find everything that I've done. At least while I've streamed it. Very cool, man. Very cool. Okay, so we have this here. So I'll take a, let's see where, I got a question. When I do the ear parts at 128 Dynamesh, I'm already messed up. What should I do with that? What do you mean it's already messed up? Is the resolution too low? Like what exactly do you mean? Okay. So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to separate some things out. So I'm going to just make life a little easy on myself, and we're going to split this off. So where's my hand? My hand is here. I'm actually going to, let's do this. Let's move the hand out of the body for a second, and let's put it in its own folder. So Control F, we're going to go with hand. And then we're going to go here, and let's go ahead and split hidden. So this way we only have the hand to worry about. We're just going to hide everything else using our subfolders at the top. Okay, and now we can focus a little bit on this part. We also did have this little guy right here that we had used. This was like a temporary placeholder to have something on his hand. I don't like it, so we're just going to go ahead and delete that. And we're going to come back here, and we're just going to focus on this guy. So now, taking a look at my reference for a second. Oh my gosh. Sometimes this mouse only likes the mouse pad. All right, let's come back here. Let's look at our gloves. So we have some good separation a little bit beyond the knuckle here. So we want to make a strap, and then we want to have like that kind of material on top, which is pretty cool. So we're going to use a little bit of our own interpretation here. We're not going to follow this 1000% to the letter because we want to keep it cute as well. So I'm going to come in here, and we're going to just turn on local symmetry, but not dynamic. And I'm going to just kind of scale this up a little bit. In fact, actually, I'm going to do Control Inflate to Scale. Just have that come up just like that. This will give us a little bit of thickness. And then here, I'm going to turn on Z Modeler, make my life a little bit simpler. We're going to hover over an edge, and we're going to go to Close Holes, and we're going to go Convex Hole. And we'll get some end guns, which is fine, but I want to... Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to come in here, and we're just going to get a little bit of this, and I'm going to just tap and repeat this so it's all the same. I'll just make it all one poly group. There we go. And we can make this all one color too, which that should be fine. We'll just keep this red for now. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this off. So I'm going to Control-Shift-D. I'm going to duplicate this a little bit. And again, going back to the hand, I want at least up to the palm relatively. I want at least up to, this will be the fun part, at least here. Let's do this. So let's grab the selection tool. Let me actually select what I want. Let's grab that. Okay, so we have this. So we have a little bit of a conflict. Our geometry is not that special. Our geometry kind of sucks. So let's go to slice curve, and let's make a clear indication of what this is. So say something like that. And then we're going to try to ZRemesh this for a bit. So I'm going to come over here, go to ZRemesher. I'm going to say same. Going to do keep groups, and let's actually do adapt with 0. Let's see remesh, and let's see if this straightens out some of this. Okay. Okay, let me see something real fast. Let's do one more here, because I want this section. Is that what I want? Trying to think of what I actually, how I want to approach this. Let me see. You know what? Let's do this. Let's subdivide a little bit. Let's give me a little bit of geometry to work with. Want that? Welcome to my brain when I think. When is the mask coming on? What's up? What's up, Jax? How you doing, man? It's coming. What's up, Dustin? How you doing? Very cool. Very cool. Do. Can I show a picture? I don't know how to describe it in English. Let me see. I like your glove. Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually trying to figure out the best way I want to repurpose this geometry. I actually have. I might do some rebuilding, so let's do this. So I'm actually probably just giving me a little bit of thoughts and things. I'm probably gonna slice this like this, and I'm gonna see something. We're gonna try a few things here, because I want this to wrap around. I want that part to be black, and then I want the glove part to be black. But I'm also gonna want some like loops going around here. So just trying to think about the best way to keep it as simple as possible. So maybe, just maybe, let's go ahead and do this. Let's ZRemesh. Yeah, that's fine. And we're just gonna isolate this part. So this might be, we're gonna fiddle with this a little bit. So let's go ahead and not split hidden. Let's go to geometry, and let's go to delete hidden. Let's see, And can you tell us which one is better, manual retopology or ZRemesher? Ooh, that is such a loaded question. Well, I'm gonna answer it. So don't worry, I don't shy from questions like that. So, what's better? Well, it's project based. So here's the thing: you got to understand why do we manual retopo? This is a question in which I think, for the most part, I think a lot of times there's a little bit of misunderstanding on why the reason for manual retopology. And ultimately, it boils down to manual retopology is there for ultimate control. You want to be able to control exactly what your mesh looks like, how it deforms, what is overall the thing you're trying to achieve. And this boils down to animation and rigging and being able to move your character as flawless as possible, right? This is what you ultimately are trying to achieve when you're animating. And this is what manual retopoing can do. It can help provide that control for you, so then you can turn around and essentially not have to worry about too many deformation points, too many weird pinches. It will look the most natural this way. ZRemesher was designed to get clean topology relatively fast, but there's not a lot of control with it. There is some basic function in which you have the ability, of course, to want to, you know, to be able to control it. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to 100% have it come out perfectly. Even with a lot of tips and tricks I've shown where you use polygroups and you separate things out, then you ZRemesh, it's still not 100% guaranteed that it's going to go in your favor. I have done some projects that have been ZRemeshed and got rigged really, really nicely. However, at the end of the day, this is where I implore you to always check with your team. I've done a few projects. One of them was for Coach.com. We were in a huge hurry, and the pressure was on to finish the job. This was about 3, maybe 4 years ago now, which is a little bit insane to think about. But the thing is that we actually needed the stuff to be completed quickly, and in order to do that, we had no choice but to turn around and just ZRemesh and fix it, and then get it to the animators so they can test it. What happened was, my surprise was when I just did a ZRemesh, meaning I broke up all the groups and I used the poly groups. There was a couple poles. I fixed those poles, and I thought, man, this is a little rough, but I'll send it. When they got the model and they started rigging it, within about 30 minutes after giving them the model, they turned around and said, this is perfect. We can use this. We weight painted it with the rough sketch. It looks good. We're going to do a lot of test animations. If this model doesn't change, proceed with texturing. And I got really lucky with it, and that was really cool. So ultimately, you want to lean in on manual retopology. Also, the reason why you want to lean into manual retopology is really simple. You need to understand what it is, or how edge loops should flow and how it should help support the structure of your model. And you can't do that just by hitting ZRemesher. You may not understand why you want perfectly even quads wrapping all the way around. Those are things that you want to learn. So even if you never really plan on doing animation, experiencing manual retopology is going to help you out so much, because it's going to provide to you the understanding of topology and the way it supports the structure. Let me know if that helped out, but that's ultimately it. Okay, so I'm gonna use this as a strap, and we're gonna come through here, and we're gonna go with flip normals, not the YouTube channel, and we're gonna go ahead and just make that so it looks good. I'm also doop-a-doop-boo. Like, that's actually why I'm pretty, like, I'm gonna need to, oh, you know what? Let's keep this really simple. I just thought of it. Here, let's do this. Like, this is pretty gross. Like, this right here is not, this is not in my favor. Like, this really should be fixed. Like, I'll more than likely need to refix this, because I got a weird spiral, and that's not happening. That's not healthy. But what I can do, let me try something here real quick. We're gonna get wild, kids. Let's get wild. Let's do this. I'm going to come in here. Let's go ahead and crease. Let's grab this guy. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna crease this edge. We're gonna subdivide a few times. Yep. Boom, boom. Super long-winded rabbit hole, but you'll get less errors and weird bugs when you treat your topology with respect. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay, so I'm deleting lower. What I'm going to try to do, I'm trying to basically kind of salvage some of this here. And what I want to do, we're going to go back to slice curve here, and we're going to slice this right down here. Right down the middle. Say something like that. Boom. Okay, and then we're going to do this. We're going to come up here, and let's actually go to crease and crease our Paul Gabries. Not uncrease. There we go, crease, there we go, perfect. So now we have this. We're gonna try to use this creasing to help us get better topology here. So let's come in here to ZRemesher, always save your work. And we're gonna start with same. We only have 28,000, so this is pretty low. Even though I subdivided up, it's still pretty low for ZRemesher to freak out. So we're gonna go ahead and say same, and let's see if we can get some good edge loops flowing this way. Good morning, what's up, Rafi? It took me a while to pick up on ZModeler properly, but man, does it make life easier. It really does, yeah. Okay, keep creases, keep groups. Let's try that one more time. Happy for the guy that got hired by the studio. I gave up sending applications, been freelancing for the last years. Hey, freelancing is definitely a good route, man. I spent all of the pandemic freelancing to get into the industry, so absolutely. What's up, Anna? How you doing? Everybody, if you guys don't know Anna, you have to follow her. She's an amazing artist, and she's also a live streamer here. So everybody say hi to Anna. Hi, Anna. Okay, there we go. So we got some pretty good creases. All right, so these creases is helping. Now let's see how low we can go. How low can we get? Yes, there we go. Boom, boom. But see, here's what I mean. Like, I would absolutely say, like, okay, this is pretty good. But look, I got some funky dunky stuff happening here. Now we can actually try to fix this, by the way. We could come in here, hover over this point, and we can see, like, what happens if we stitch that. There we go. We got that pole right there. Come in. There. So we got some poles right there. Got a pole right there. Got a random pole right there. That's okay, though. You know what? That's going to be close enough for what we need to do. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let's actually get rid of this guy, because I was not a fan of that guy. Here's what we get to do now. So we get to click this one. We get to come in here. Now we get to kind of separate this a little bit more. So I get to come through here, and we can do split hidden. Boop. So now we have our hand broken up into several pieces. And of course, too, I chose like the worst color to do this. But then let's actually come over here to ZModeler, hover over that edge. Again, make sure close is on. We can close that off like that. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. And let's do the same thing here. No, let's just touch that. Boom. That way it stays about the same. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, we figured it out. Sometimes it's just about troubleshooting. I'm going to scale this up a little bit. And then we're going to take the move. I'm going to push this geometry around a bit. We can even grab this guy. Just move this in like such. Of course, Anna, of course. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, we're having fun already. Drop my coaster on the floor. All right, we're just figuring out how to make this hand work, which so far I'm liking it, or at least we're getting a little bit better on that. Okay, we can actually scale this down just a little bit more. Because again, this is basically going to be like a plastic material. And like I said, we will be moving this character into Substance Painter. And because of that, just want to make sure that there's just really nice, clean material separation and make it easier. Okay, and we'll switch this over and let's get this color. And then let's switch this over to be red. There we go. Now we need to like kind of fix this hand a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab the Move Infinite brush. We're just gonna pull down this into the hand here. There we go. Say something like that. That way, just make sure it's looking pretty good, and let's do the same thing with the thumb. So we'll start pulling this in. And here, let's reshape this a little bit. Showcase that silhouette has a knuckle, just a teeny bit. There we go. And there we go. All right, cool. And then now we can actually put like some wraps and stuff around a bit. So let's actually turn the color off for just a second. Oh, you know what? I also moved with Move Infinite. You want to be careful with Move Infinite because it moves infinitely in the Z axis. So anytime I move something, if I were to move it from here, like moving your normal move, obviously it doesn't do anything back here. But if I were to use the Move Infinite, grab this spot, you see it pulled all of that in Z Infinite. And that's not what I wanted, so I wanted to make sure that we definitely fixed that. Okay, and now let's go ahead and let's give ourselves like some finger, like some tubing a little bit, which will be pretty cool. So what we can do here is we can actually use, I think we can use our creases. Come up here to stroke, come up here to not curve, but curve functions, and we can use crease edges, and we can actually do a framed mesh. And this will frame that mesh. And then all we need to do now is come up here to, let's say, curve tubes. Curve tubes, so let's go C for curve, and then curve tubes. Boom, there it is. Go ahead and pick a draw size, tap one time. Why did that do that? Oh, it did that because it's skipping. Why is it skipping? Why are you doing this to me? That's okay. Let's actually do this. Let's just tap it anywhere. Let's get rid of that. Let's actually use, I got another idea. We can go to polygroups and we can just group by normals. Yeah, there we go. That should be better. Come up here again, stroke, turn on polygroups, frame that mesh, tap one time. There we go. And we can have this rounded, or we can even use, we can actually use some alphas if we chose to. There's also, which one is it? Which one is it? Is it curve? No, not curve alpha. Where was it? Which am I looking for? We can use curve strap. That works. No, not that one. That one's not what I want. Let me see. Hold on one second. There's another curve brush I'm looking for. And when I see it, I'll be like, aha, that's the one. Is it curved surface? No, it's not curved surface. You know what? Let's just go curved tube. That's fine. I'm overthinking it. Or is it curve? Or is it... Oh my gosh. Brain fart moment. What is happening? Oh, curve profile. There we go. Extrude profile. That's what I want. So now we can come through here. We can actually make this like scribe. So we can come in and click something like that. There we go. So let's see. Let's do scribe 9. Yeah, that gives us some cool information, I think. That gives us just a little bit of depth right there, which is super nice. Now we're going to want to remember what we clicked. So let's go to S for draw size. Let's go 4. And let's touch right there. So that way we know 100% that that's what's happening. Touch anywhere on the model. That will go ahead and clean that up. And then we want to do the exact same thing over here. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go ahead and do group by normals. And again, we'll come in and we'll do we'll do stroke by polygroups. We'll touch that right there. That's fine. And then what we'll do is we'll actually get rid of this one. So we'll come in here, we'll go to geometry, and let's do delete hidden. There we go. That gives our hand just a little bit more texture. Is there a way to apply an alpha in a rolling manner along a curve? Like on a curve, like is there a way to apply an alpha on a rolling manner along a curve? Like what I just kind of did right now on like a curved line, or like as you're stroking? What's up, man? Hey, what's up, Chris? Thanks, buddy. Let's see, how do they make the effect of the inner body parts bumping through the skin in the animation? That's a great question. I'm not an animator, so I don't know the wizardry of animation. I just understand the core functions of it, but I would imagine a lot of it has to do with just planned movements. I honestly have no idea how they... Animation is one of those things that I wanted to stay a mystery to me on a curved line. So to answer your question, on a curved line, like you want an alpha to be drawn on a curved line? Not really, but you can make your alpha a geometry, which is what the extrude profile is, that then takes that shape and allows you to do it. So alphas are usually used for sculpting, like sculpting brushes. But for curve brushes, I can't access my alpha. So I can't directly use an alpha for this. However, if I go, let me see here. Okay, to mesh. So if I come over here, give me a second. I think this happened, this one came out in 2021, I think. It's been a little bit. Okay, so you can actually change your alphas into something like this. So let me actually come up here. You could also, trying to think, it's been a little bit since I've done this. That seems to be my go-to answer for a lot of days. So I'm gonna grab a curve here. So I'm gonna grab this, and let's just do, let's see if I remember how to do it. Come up over here, and I wanna do this hex, and then I'm just gonna hit save real fast. And I'm just gonna load up a cylinder real quick. And let's just turn perspective off for 5 seconds. Okay, so here, then if I come up here with this alpha and I say to mesh, this will give me something like that. Is that how we do it? Is it flat? Flat to mesh. Alpha flat to mesh. There it is. Yes. Okay. Been a minute and a half. So flat to alpha 2 mesh gives me this shape. And then let me see here real quick. If I come back to my extrude profile. Let's go to the profile 2. That's the one I wanted. Blah, 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 blah. Was it from here? Was it this one? No. Is that right? No. You know what? It's been a little bit. I know we did an ass ZBrush on it. Let me pull the ass ZBrush on it. My brain's breaking today. I apologize. And we'll just look it up together because I'm drawing a blank. I apologize. I know we did a thing on it. And this was what you would want to be. I don't know if that's the right one. Give me a second. My apologies, guys. Here we go. This should be helpful. In brush. Oh yeah. No, gosh. It's collapsing on me. Yeah. In brush settings, insert mesh. Yes. You're correct. You are correct. Yeah, and then append. There we go. And it should be, there we go. Yep. Thank you. And that we all struggle sometimes. I'm gonna die on that hill. So there you go. So yeah, so let's repeat that. So once you get your main shapes, let's start over. Let's do it together. So let's start over. So when you have your main function here, so you have your main alpha. Let's go back. So let's come in here. Let's grab our alpha, and let's just go ahead and let's just come back in here. Yay! Learning. We're both learning. So we have our main shape. That's totally fine. Then you want to come up to alpha, choose flat, and then to mesh. That's going to give you your main mesh right here. And then you can also fix this mesh up. That part's there. And then once you're here, you want to come in. You want to grab the brush that you want, or create a new brush if you would like to. But the extruder profile should be it. And then as shout out to, where was it? Who helped there? Cinna or Sinan. Come up here to brush and then just insert that and just append it. And it will add up here at the top. And then if we get a nice big brush, there you go, there's your shape. I don't like my brain fart moments, but I'll own them. Thank you guys, thank you. What's up, Chase? How you doing? There we go. It's one of those things where, like, Mustafa, it's one of those, it's like, there's so many cool aspects and features in ZBrush, but there are times where I just die on my hill with my workflow. And so a lot of this stuff, I'll sometimes just sit there on my own for like 10 minutes and just like figure it out. So, you know, it happens. I always joke there's like, for every $1 you've spent on ZBrush, there's a feature. There's just a feature for you, and there it is. And a lot of my stuff is just on default brushes. I actually don't build a lot of custom brushes. I should probably do more of that, if I'm being honest. But nonetheless, we learn together, and that's all that matters. Heyo, what's up, Kaitwin? Kaitwin, you just missed me, my brain breaking. You missed a moment with Ian. That's what we should call those segments. Whenever my brain breaks, we'll just be like, and that was a moment with Ian. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, we're going to come in here. So, okay, we'll grab this guy right here. We'll separate this. We'll split hidden. Okay, I'm going to come in. And then we're going to, I'm just literally going to merge this down. So we're going to come over here, merge down. Bada bing, bada boom, clear that mask. And I'm also going to, just for the sake of argument, polygroups, auto groups, just to have that just like that. And then now we're going to make that all one color. So we're going to go fill that object there. I'm going to fill this color. And then we'll switch over and fill this color. So we'll have something like that. And then we do want to put some sort of, I was thinking about putting some sort of plate or some texture here as well, because he usually has like some knuckle guards or whatnot. So we can actually put a few of those down. And what we could do is we could just build on that. So let's come over here to topology. We're just going to draw our own. So we'll come up here to stroke. Go up to lazy mouse, turn lazy mouse on. Let's get a nice lazy radius. So we're going to do this guy. He has a different couple plates. We're going to come in. I'm just going to do this. There we go. Alt drag. So we want the three. You know what? Let's actually have some fun with this. Let's see here. Let's actually just do a custom design. So we're going to come here. I'm going to turn off the color for a second so I can see a little bit more. There we go. This could be pretty cool. Let's do this. Yeah, this could be pretty fun. This will be his, like, kind of... Actually, let's not draw those lines there. Let's just alt drag this, and then let's extrude this up. So I'm just going to go ahead here, and if we tap one time on the lowest brush setting, and then we go to split and split unmasked points, you'll see here we now have this knuckle shape. And we can actually now just use the modeler to come in, and let's actually go insert multi-edge loop, keep polygroups. We'll add in some of these like this. Got all this creasing, which is totally fine. So just go to geometry, and then let's just go to crease, uncrease all. Boop, done. And then now we'll just come over here to Q mesh, and we'll just drag this up. Cool. Let's just grab our move infinite, hit every button but the ones we want. That's how we do it. And then we'll just try to rearrange this a bit. There we go. Have to do it again, yeah. It's a huge software. Thanks for showcasing the workflow. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it possible to put a mesh in the default menu, a Z-sphere with less polygon, for example? I'm not quite sure I understand the question, to be honest with you. Is it possible to put a mesh in the default menu? Like, what do you, like, yeah, if you can elaborate a little bit more, because I'm not sure I understand what's, like, you can do a project startup. You can start up with a project. Yeah, that's default, which is basically what all of these are. If you go up here to project, but yeah, if you could explain a little bit more what you mean, that would be great. You can also save over these things too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, here, check this out. I'll show you the easiest way to do it. Easiest way, if you're like you're somebody who always wants to start with like a different thing. We'll fix it. We'll play with that. It's just like a little plastic design. We probably won't even see it. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to save real quick. And let's say, yeah, we just saved this. So here's the thing. What you could do is you could just come over here, default project, right? And you can come in here just like such, and you can actually switch this. Here, let me show you a cool trick. So if you have your IMM primitive shapes, and you have the gizmo up, and you use the arrow key to switch between any of these, you're gonna switch to a different shape. And there is one that I like, which has a pole to it, but I use it for eyes all the time, but it's like this one, or you could switch to this one, whichever you want. And then what you do is turn off perspective for a second, come over here, and just like switch that back to the home position. So make sure symmetry is turned off, because symmetry gets turned on by default in that project. So just hit X for X-ray, just hit X, recenter that, unlock this, and then home, and then it's centered. And then literally just come up here to file and hit save. Oh, are you kidding? Okay, come up here, hit save, replace it. There you go. It says it couldn't do it, and then it just lets me do it. Now, when I load this up, it should be right there. That's one way. There is also a plugin which allows you to do startup projects pretty well. Actually, was it only have to do, let me see here. If I do I do store config? There's a startup project one. Do I have it downloaded? If not, I'll send you that one. That one's really cool too, because then you can just save startup projects, which I don't think I have it installed here. So here, let me Google it real fast. So if we go ZBrush plugins download and go here to ZBrush plugins, there we go. Boom, ZBrush plugins. There is one that you would want to download, and I'll share the link. Startup utility. So you want to download that one. And we'll install this together. So boom, that's there. So now what you could do, do I not have that one at all? I thought I had it. I don't have it. Okay, great. So we'll just close ZBrush down. Let's load up where that file is. So I'm gonna grab this, gonna go to downloads. Gonna go here, just gonna grab that. And then on PC, let's come over here to our disk. Let's come up here to our program files. Let's come over here to what version we are rocking, which is ZBrush 2024 for me. And then I'm gonna come over here to Z Startup, and then we're gonna go to Z Plugins. Now, before you do this, let's extract it. So I'm just gonna go to my desktop real quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and paste that there, and just go ahead and extract here. Boom, there it is. So now I have this file right here, which is the startup utility and the folder. So I'll grab these guys right here. Actually, no, won't grab that one. I'll go in here to the folder, grab these two right there, come in here, and then we're just gonna paste this right in there. So now we got startup utility and the ZSC file. So that's it, we're installed. Let's load this back up. Okay, now there it is. You can already see that I loaded ZBrush. You can see that there's that project that now has the low poly sphere. So I just overwrote that default project, and that will do that for me. But now let's say we wanted an auto startup. So here I should be able to go to Z plugin, and down here at the bottom, you have Z startup utility. And this is what you can use to actually do stuff. So we can have rotate on Y automatically turned on. We can have bath face mask automatically turned on, because people seem to love that, because I do. It's one of my favorite features in ZBrush. And then of course too, we can just install a custom startup. So now we have this. Let's go ahead and do custom startup. Auto start takes place on the next one, which is great. So let's just turn ZBrush off. Now when I open up ZBrush one more time, it should do that for me and get me started. There it is. Now it pops up this window right here, but now I can start sculpting on this guy. So that's how you could do that. And again, we can have symmetry turned on for that. It's really useful if you're only working on a very, it's useful if you want to start up like this every time, or if you want to start with a project every time. So let's say I always want to open up with my chibi Deadpool character. So same thing. So I would trim this guy on. There it is. Everything's looking fine. Like, great, this is what I would want. Come up here again, Z plugin, startup utility, come through here, and then pick everything that I would want to have, and then just say install that. And now it's going to go through and do that. Now, if you move that project file, there is a tendency that it could not start up that way, because if it can't find it. But if you are not satisfied, or if you need to uninstall at any time, you can just come in here and uninstall your startup, and that will completely remove that, and the ZBrush will start normal. So there's a few ways. Hopefully that was what you were, that's what you were off. So if you wanted Z spheres, that's how you can do it. I often work with Z spheres, but every time I insert Z spheres, I have to make, ZRemesher. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I tangented on the wrong thing. That's okay. All right, it's here. So ZRemesher. Boom. Let's do this. So let's just plug this out. So here's Z sphere. So Z spheres ultimately are just your way to create shapes, right? You can come in here, draw up a thing, you can move this up, rotate, etc., draw this guy right here, boom, right? Well, okay, so you're gonna have to, this isn't actual geometry. There's no geometry here for you. This is just like an armature in sculpting terms. So you need bones in the armature for you to get the shape. Always think of your blockouts like you're building an armature, even if you're just using primitive shapes to get the block out in the likeness quickly. But the way you can avoid using ZRemesher out the gate is with a few settings. The first one is going to adaptive size and understanding these two. The density, how dense is this thing? And then Dynamesh. Dynamesh is always set to 256 by default. So if I were to hit A for preview, it's going to give me this Dynamesh mesh. But you then have to ZRemesh it, and you don't want to do that. So all we need to do is go to Dynamesh and turn that down to 0. Now if I turn the wireframe on and hit this is now quads. And this will always be quads for you. So I hit A again. So let's go ahead and just continue drawing. So I'm going to draw this shape out here. I'm going to move this. I'm going to come in here, draw this shape out right here, press shift to snap to have the same thing. No idea what we're doing. Grab that. Here, there we go. Perfect. Now if I hit A, there you go. There's my mesh. This is relatively clean mesh. I can even drop this down to be 1. So this is less dense. I can drop this up to be more, which would be more dense. But let's stick with 2. 2 is a good number. That's why it starts that way. And then make adaptive skin. So now you have this mesh here. And now you don't have to ZRemesh this. And this is all quads. Everything about this is quads. Even from the backside here, come on over. This is all quads. So building an armature this way, this was how you would be able to do that. It kind of looks like a weird raptor leg. Man, I need to watch you more frequently. Seriously, Z Guru. Thanks, man. Thank you. Every once in a while, I have breakdowns, but yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem. There you go, Caitlin. Great stream. I hope you're doing well. Quick question. Any tips to keep yourself motivated? I struggle a lot to get some models done, especially when it's for free or my portfolio. Yeah, that's a tough one, dude. That's a tough one. 100% real with you. I struggle with that. Like, it's tough to get motivated, especially when your job or your, especially if you're not in the industry, which I remember struggling to get into the industry and really having a hard time finding my place. And it was actually really difficult to sit here and go to work, come home. I have kids, so I got to spend time with kids. And then, I'm just trying to figure out life itself, right? So I understand. It can be very difficult. The thing that I preach a lot is do what you're passionate about. Do what you absolutely love. Fun fact, I was actually told by a few people when I was struggling because I did a lot of fan art. And fan art kept me motivated. In fact, 90% of my portfolio is fan art because it's what kept me motivated. It's things that I loved. It's things that kept my passion alive, and it allowed me to express myself with the things that I knew. And it also allowed me to practice a really key function that I think a lot of sculptors need to have in order to be successful, and that is following a concept and nailing the likeness of something. And if somebody recognizes an IP like Vegeta, and if they can look at this and say, this looks like Vegeta, then you did your job as a sculptor. You followed a concept and you did it. But I love Vegeta all the way down to his buns. Just I love his character. He's super awesome. A friend of mine, one of my best friends was like, I really want a Vegeta piece. And I was like, I got you. And then I made it for 3D printing. These are things in which kept my passion alive and kept me pushing, and eventually I have some originals. This is one of my original pieces. I did a nice little robot very recently, but I didn't get to this part you know, quickly. It took me time to do that. This is also an original piece, but still based off a concept from coach.com. So at the end of the day, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that if you love what you do, it makes it easier to stay motivated. So hence me making a chibi Deadpool. I'm still looking forward to this stream because I'm like, I get to work on them again. I get to do more. So these are things that you really want to like, you want to be able to like, give yourself a little bit of slack. Understand that you only have so many hours in the day, but when you're in love with something, it makes it easier to really push it. So hopefully that's helpful, but that's my method. That's my philosophy. That's what got me waking up in the morning and doing the stuff that I wanted to do. Boom, boom. Yeah, not a problem. Absolutely, man. I think more and more artists. I love talking about this stuff. It's real. You know what I mean? It's fact. It's what we all deal with. We all struggle with this. And it's so funny because there are some top name artists who I've spoken to that are like been doing this for a long time, and I'm like, how are you still doing this? And they're like, I ask myself the same thing. It's very hard sometimes, And just when you think you got a grasp on life, it tends to do a thing for you. So, but yeah, keep it up. Just keep your head high and enjoy what you do. Don't let anybody tell you no. Unless it's truly awesome advice. Unless it's like, no, you really shouldn't be doing that. Try this instead. Like if it's like critique, take critique. But as far as like what you want to do in the world and your passion, yeah, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Okay, we're gonna give a little bit of interesting shapes to this. I want a little bit of recessing right here, because I really think this is going to help bring some interest to this. And we're going to do an inset here. That's an edge action. Why would I do that? I'm going to go here, inset, all poly groups. And I want to get just a little bit, there we go, of sharpness in that area. That should be good. Let's go ahead and grab a color. Again, let's make this, that'll give me some interesting shadows on that piece, just like that. Yeah. Yes. All right, that's pretty cool. Let's do this real quick. Let's move this back down into the hand a little bit. Great motivation. great advice about motivation. Do what you love and you won't need to sleep. Exactly. Don't sleep. Cut those hours out. Oh man. I've definitely stayed up way too many times. Happens to the best of us. Don't sleep. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, let's figure out what material this is. So I did a basic material here, which is good. I did that for the specific type of material. So now I want to kind of match this a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this piece here. We're going to go material because we've already filled this with color. So we're going to fill this material. We're going to fill this material with a little bit of a shiny material here. Let's just go skin shade 4. Actually, let's do basic material. Let's see. Okay. It looks weird, so we're also going to fill his fingers with the same material. Yeah, that looks better. That feels a lot better. Okay, great. So now let's just do this. So we're going to go ahead and makes no. Let's see. Let's go hand. Let's just save it real fast. Let's go hand and let's just merge the folder together so we get the one hand here. There we go. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and geometry, mirror and weld that. Okay. Now we don't need this one. Oh no, we do need that one. Okay, great. Perfect. Let's see something. Oh, did I stamp it? I stamped it. Okay, so those are all our pieces right now. All right, perfect. There we go. That's better. Nice. Okay, cool. Some more interest to his hands. So it's little things like that. You know what I want to do too, actually, is now that we have some interest in his hands, there's less interest in his uniform, which means we now need to introduce that same type of interest into the rest of his suit. So what I want to do is just with this, we'll come through here. Okay, if I hit Shift D, then that's going to drop down my dynamic subdivision. So that's just giving me a preview. So I'm going to go ahead and Control Shift D, duplicate that one in itself. And now we're going to come in here and we're just going to come do stroke, curve functions, and let's frame our mesh here. And if I remember right, it was like 4 on the draw size with the extrude profile. And I think we use scribe 9. Yes, we did. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Don't sleep till Brooklyn. I love that song. When you are in that flow state. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you don't even feel like time is passing. What time is it? It's only 11:50. Yeah, we get time. Yeah. So it's rough after 9 hours of work that I'm going to go into Blender. Yeah, I feel you. No sleep. Do you pose your models in ZBrush or do you use another software? I typically pose in ZBrush for the majority of my statue work. If for whatever reason, I wanted to play with Character Creator a little bit more, I just haven't had time to learn that one. I typically don't rig my characters too much unless it's requested, but even then, I don't typically do the rigging aspect. I get to hand my models off to someone else. Hashtag thank you. But yeah, so I don't typically do any rigging. So most of it's in ZBrush to answer your question. Okay. Oh, hello there. We got a little extra geometry. Okay, perfect. Got some tubing here, so let's go ahead and just delete hidden. Now here, I'm just gonna try something. It's single-sided geometry, so I'm just gonna hold Control, inflate. No, don't do that. Okay, so what I wanna do is actually bring a lot of this mesh down. So we're just gonna start moving this into our tubing so that it has a nice connection. And clearly we need to move our tubing out here. There we go. Just find that balance of intersection. There we go. for here, we can actually, let's actually hide the belt bags for a second. Let's move this in like such. Keep clicking the wrong button. Take a nice big brush. There we go. Okay, cool, cool. There. Get a little bit more visual interest there. It's the little things that just make everything so much more interesting, you know? There we go. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. I'm digging it. Let's go ahead and save. You pose all of your models in ZBrush, both high and low. Nice. Yeah, that's the way to do it, Anna. Interesting. I should do that more often, but I think it depends on what you want to showcase. Great. Great topology, good rigging. But for showcase purpose, I think it's best to do it in ZBrush. Yeah, it all depends on your portfolio. Most of my stuff was originally designed for 3D printing, so figures, collectibles, and game props. And so if I did any type of game asset, when I was at Funko, I did a lot of animation assets. So the characters got rigged, but not by me. But still, I had everything T-posed in ZBrush. And then I did all my test posing in ZBrush. And then, yeah, like I said, any game assets or character that was designed for animation, typically I would do everything in ZBrush. It was just easier for me to do it in ZBrush. So ultimately, that just all made sense, yeah. So again, it just depends on what you're going to go for. And if you work with the high and the low together, which is what a lot of studios do. A lot of studios will have your low mesh and your high mesh basically be the same mesh but subdivided up, and they have all those details. So in fact, Capcom did a great demonstration of this at the summit last year where they showcased all of their characters. And this one was really cool. If you guys hadn't seen this presentation, you absolutely should. I'll share it in the chat. But basically what they were saying was all of their characters use the exact same base mesh. Like 100% the exact same base mesh. So it doesn't matter if it's male or female. Same exact base mesh. And because of that, here you go. If you guys hadn't seen this, you're gonna have to see this. Hammy and Joseph Drast. Look at that. All right, so let's come over here. So they were talking about, you know, what they'll do is they'll have the base mesh, they'll move it all for the same character. I think the base mesh low poly was no more than, I think the average base mesh was about, at low side, was like 256,000 vertices. Didn't want to share that for some reason. Do that again. So very, very low. Then they would just use that. They would design the character based off that mesh. Used a lot of scan data, of course, and then they subdivide all that up, and then they make all their sculptural changes. They did a lot of cloth shapes and blend shapes inside of ZBrush. Like ZBrush could do so much of it. So there was a ton of stuff that was there. Like I said, such a great. No, I didn't want redshift. Where was there a redshift material? That's not a redshift material. How is that a redshift material? It's not. So yeah, so long story short, they use the same mesh, and then they just use whatever the low is, they just work on top of that, and then they export out the low, and then they do all their baking from the high to the low. So your high poly and your low poly is essentially the same mesh, just subdivided up with all the details. So that's ultimately what they did, and it works out fantastic. Okay, let's do this. So we borrowed these swords because I already built them from Leonardo when we did that piece. So let's actually do some coloring, and then we need to get a sheath for it, and then we can move forward. So this will be a pretty simple one. Yeah, Mixamo T-Pose Master works really well for that. Absolutely, Ryan. What else is there? AccuRig is one of my favorite ones, actually. For quick, if somebody said, hey, rig this for me real fast, it's a human, I'll use AccuRig. But I've built like 1 or 2 rigs to understand it, but I don't even claim to be an expert. There are masters greater than me that can do that work. And massive respect. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through and isolate all of this. Come through here. I want this to be a little bit of a gray color. And we're gonna go a little bit towards the cooler gray. So let's pick blue and not material. We're gonna do color. Color at 100%, please. There we go. So just get that. Let's actually push that over here. And then let's grab this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And then this is a gold material, isn't it? It's a red, it keeps picking redshift. I don't think that's right. So let's pick this. Let's just make this material, and then let's make it a darker black. Okay, and then this is a metal material right here. And let's do this. Okay, that's fun. That's fun. And then let's just grab this color. Let's grab this guy right here. Let's make that the same color. Yeah, that should be fun. Okay, let's get a sheath on this guy. Because right now, that's just pretty plain. Let's close this down. Let's actually go save next. You've used DAZ too. Why is my link not sharing? I'm so upset why my link's not sharing. Okay, I don't know why my link's not sharing. For whatever reason, it's being kind of silly. So if you, let me try this again. If you just go to YouTube and type in Capcom ZBrush Summit, you'll run right into this. I don't know. Oh, you shared it? Okay, great, perfect. It kept yelling at me. It kept saying, it's not shared. Like, what is going on? Awesome, okay, great. Ian and technology today. Might be 2 different conversations. All right. So let's do this. Let's come here. Let's grab the sword. Okay, let's insert. Let's insert a cube. And we're just gonna go ahead and initialize cube. And now let's come back over here. Let's go V6. Let's do the sword and the cube itself. Okay. Yeah, let's move this here. The top, we don't need that. Gonna rotate this around. Let's just stretch that out. There we go. Let's go ahead and start to pivot that just a little bit. Just want this to look like it's supposed to belong. And the color's a little hard to see, of course, so let's turn off that color, turn that material down. And I'm gonna come over here and we're just gonna tap on the top. Rotate that just a teeny little bit and pull this forward. Okay. And then let's rotate this. I already posed the sword, so I'm gonna do one of these and then we're gonna duplicate that. And then let's actually turn on transparency and kind of see where things lie. Okay, there you go. That's pretty cool. That'll help see the inside a bit. Let's go ahead and send that down there. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit dynamic, which does absolutely nothing for me because it's just gonna break, right? So now we need to support this. So let's go with our Z modeler. Let's come over here in multiple edge loops, and let's go ahead and give it a little bit of love. And actually, real fast, before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and mask off this corner, and we're gonna lift this up. And then we're gonna also unmask this corner. I'm gonna put this a little bit more in the middle. No, don't do that. That doesn't look good. Okay, that's fine. This will be fine. Now let's go ahead and give it a little bit of TLC. So insert multiple edge loops. And let's do... let's do something like that. Cool. And then I'm going to go ahead and do some custom edge loops here just to get some like very specific fall off. Okay. Let's do that one right there, and let's do this one right here. So when I do this, now we have the support of the that shape that's supported. And then let's come in here, and let's just do some edge loop here. Yeah. Okay, now it's a little bit big as far as the blade itself, as far as the way it goes. So let's actually do this. Let's rotate this. And let's just squeeze that down. Sheaths only have to be so long. Fix that. Let's actually do this real quick. Actually, no, what we could do to make this a little, instead of using the gizmo for this, check this out. I'm gonna back this up a second. We can actually just come over here to Q mesh, come in, and actually just press shift and squeeze that in a little bit. Now, I don't want that to do on everything, so let's do this. The poly groups are a little bit different. So let's go group by normals. Hold shift, squeeze that in just a little bit. I could tap that one time, or I could just do it manually like that. There we go. That's a little bit better. That's better. Okay, let's support it. Why do you use different shapes of different shades of gray for the sword? There's different materials on it. I'm gonna uniform it, but I also just wanted it to stand out. So if we come back over here, it's just all gonna look black, right? So I want the wrapping to stand out from a distance. So I figured, first off, this is metal, so this has a different material on it, and I want that metal material. So, but the inside of it, typically is like some sort of, they use, mixes of metals, woods, and leather, and so forth for the handles, right? So this shade of black is also supported just by the metal material that's on there. So that's obviously just a little bit different. And then the wrap itself would be a different material, and then so would the underneath of that would be something. So what I wanted to basically achieve, this is my preference, is when you're zoomed out here about this far, and you're looking at just the sword for a second, you'll be able to see clearly what that is doing. So for me, it's a little bit more of like a visualization choice. I want somebody to understand that there's a lot of detail there. And because it's Deadpool and there's not so many colors on his suit, except for red, clearly, then red and blacks and some whites. So I figured utilize the shades of gray to help something stand out without having it be too much. Like the gold swords made no sense to it. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a choice. Yep. Great question, by the way. Any events coming up? Yes, actually, there's a few events. So I have NAB coming up soon. I'm actually going to be a guest judge at Afro Animation, which takes place here in Burbank. So that's going to be pretty cool. So if you're actually in the LA area, that's actually in Burbank. If you go to Google and just type in Afro Animation, they're having me as a guest judge there, which will be really fun. And then also to get to connect with a new audience, kind of see what's going on in the animation world and stuff, because we did announce that ZBrush for iPad is coming, and so we would also like to see if 2D artists have interest and so forth. So I'll be there, kind of just hanging out, getting to know a new community, be a part of a new community, and connect with my fellow artists, which will be great. I've also have some interest in to start drawing again. It's been a while since I've done that, so it'd be kind of cool to see some friends over there doing their thing and having a good time. So there's so a little bit of everything. and then NAB is literally that next weekend, which is crazy. I'm excited about NAB. What else? Well, that's kind of it right now. There's going to be more. A couple work trips coming up. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, that's a bit better of a fall off, which I like that. Okay, and then let's go ahead and copy this black here. I'm also gonna copy this material here. So we're gonna go MRGB, color, fill, boom. So now we have the sheath inside of there. And let's see if Ian can spell sheath. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so if you guys are in the LA area, check out Afro Animation. That'd be really cool. All right, let's put this back on him now. So this sword right here, let's do this real fast. Let's come in here. Let's grab this. This sword can go away. So we can go delete. Boop. So I don't need to repeat the work twice. For this sword, I'm going to frame this as close here as possible. Literally, I'm going to grab this guy and this guy. Make sure nothing else is selected. Going to rotate this around. Yes, like that. Very cool. All right. That should be pretty cool. All right, and then say something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one. And Control-Shift-D duplicate this one. Now I'm going to mirror them. So we're just going to come over here to deformation, just hit mirror. And it doesn't matter which sword that I grab. Just grab this one right here. And we'll do the same thing. We'll go mirror. You can't do that. Why can't you do that? Well, because so you can't mirror if you have subdivisions. So I'm going to go mirror. So I delete the lower, mirror that over, and then all I need to do is come back and reconstruct them. And I had 4 subdivisions, so I'll hit that 3 times. I'll step back up, and now I have that, which is great. Cool. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, as they say. So I'm going to deselect these. Now I want this to actually make a little bit more sense. So I'm going to bring that in just a little bit. Say something like that. Touch these guys here. Do the exact same thing. Rotate that. Make that make a little bit more sense. Just a teeny bit, right? And then for this, let's scale this down a bit. It's a bit massive. It's a bit big. We didn't need it that crazy. And then actually, you know what we could do here? Let's give this some connection. Let's come over here. Let's go insert. Let's insert proper edge loop here. Boom, boom, boom. Hover over this face, Q mesh it, have this extend inward. There you go. Say something like that. Okay. Yeah, now it looks like it's connecting just a bit. There we go. And let's go ahead and hit save. Looks like it's made out of carbon fiber. Yeah, it's pretty dope, right? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh man, that'd be awesome. A carbon fiber sword sheath. Oh. I love carbon fiber. It's so cool. I want more of it on my car. When is the model reviews? I would love to send you my model for review. That's a great question. So I haven't done model reviews here. However, I have been thinking about doing something like that in my Discord. And that might be something to like maybe in other aspects of like there might be some things later to do. I have some thoughts on this, but I don't want to share them prematurely because I don't want to overpromise type things. So, but this is something that I've given some thought about because I want to make sure that like when we do it right. It's a nice dedicated time, and maybe too we can like make it an event or something like that. So, but if you want to pop in, you can always pop into my Discord and you can always say, hey, this is can you mind giving me some feedback? And when I get a minute, I can pop in there. But also, too, what's awesome is it's a really powerful community of a lot of talented artists that are there hanging out all the time. The Discord itself happily runs itself. So many people just go in there, meet up with people, hang out, make friends, share artwork, share tips and tricks, share tools. And it's very open. It's really a lot of fun. So if you pop your work into there, then I can definitely go in and take a look. But there are some ideas I have on this that I want to be able to share further. So now what we're gonna do is we're still playing here. I want to give some like stitching. I want to do something. At least I want to give like some sculptural separation in this. So like I want this to look a little unique. So we're going to do some sculptural work here on the head itself. We got the swords in pretty much where I want, but now I need some I actually want some sculptural elements to this. So let's go ahead and figure out some stitching. So first and foremost, we do have this paint here, which is nice. So that gives us a good marker of where we should start carving our line. So we're going to go ahead and put this guy off over here. Let's focus on the head for a second. And then we're going to want nice, clean lines, super clean lines. So let's go to stroke, lazy mouse, and we're going to crank the soldier boy up because we want really nice, clean lines. And then two, a little tip here is don't just do this. Like if you come over here and draw this, and then you come back and then you start again, you see here there's a little mark right there. And that little mark, we don't want that mark. So what we could do is we can come over here to morph target and let's engage a morph target. And it's either with, yeah. And that will reduce that marker a little bit. I actually think the chisel brush does a better job at that, if I am not mistaken. So let's come over here. Woo! Not that one. Yeah, so see there, so that chisel mark does a great job. So I can continue a line really easily and have it be less destructive, right? So that can continue a lot nicer. So now it's about which chisel brush do I want, not that one. That could be pretty nice, but it's a little harsh. Let's go a little bit more. Find that line. Okay, that should be pretty cool. What's the difference between QMesh and extrude in ZModeler? It's amazing, Anna. It's really amazing. Here, before we get into this, okay, so make Polymesh 3D. QMesh versus extrude. So extrude does exactly what you think it would do. So if I come over here and I'm going to want to extrude these faces, right? I'll extrude this face inwards, and then maybe this face here, I'll push that in, right? And I'll even tap Alt to switch the actual poly group so that I don't accidentally make things going on. But see here, it's following the plane. And let's say I wanted to connect these two faces together. If I extrude this out, it just follows that normal indefinitely. So those normals don't meet up in any way, shape, or form. This is where QMesh comes in. So QMesh now, as I drag this out, immediately will snap to the closest edge loop on extrusion. And this will allow me to then weld these two things together. So I could start creating some really custom shapes. So if I wanted to come up and do something like this, right, and then have this extrusion here, but now I need this to come in and match this line here. Again, I can now start making the shapes here, and I can bridge these two together. Of course, this is a little funky example, so let's do this one. There we go. So then I can bridge these two shapes together, come through, bridge that together. Right, so it just allows me to build and connect, and it's welding itself to that. So there's no inside geometry here. If I were to come over here and go to display properties and flip that, you'll see here that it's connected, and it's connected exactly as I need it to be. So if I do double side, actually, that'll be good. So you can see here that's all welded nice together. So that just really allows you to have that. So that's the major difference between the two. Yeah, QMesh is clutch. Love it. Absolutely, yeah, share away, please. You can even tag me at it. How do I mask at the speed of light? I saw one guy masking in in a millisecond. How was it done? Could you please share it? I would have to see what, okay, I'd have to see what they did, but masking, there are a couple tricks to this. Like, you know, like here, if I wanted to, you can mask with a gizmo. There are a few ways to do this, so, yeah, I'm breaking everything. Just turn off my symmetry for a second. I'll just lower this down. Okay, so if I just press and hold Control, and then I can actually I can do masking really quickly. I can even center my gizmo with the new transpose tool that's here in 2024. Masking, you can literally, like, you can grow a mask too. So if you come over here to masking, and let's say you have this, here you can actually grow your mask. So you can grow this, you can also shrink it. You can just grow all, so you can grow like within a second. So, and you can apply shortcuts to this. So let's say you grow like the second here, grow all, boom, it does that. You can even boost a mask. So you can come through here and boost this a bunch of times, which is great. You can also dilute that. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can also do mask change points. So let's say here, if we do some sculptural changes, so let's just grab clay buildup. So I build. Okay, mask change points. I just masked off the area in which I just sculpted. And you can do this with the history brush, right? So if I actually like store a marker up here at the very top, and then I come through here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, mask change points, I just masked all those points. So you can mask within milliseconds, right? Those are ways you could go about doing it. You can also too, again, you can just mask and press and hold Alt to invert that mask, which is really a lot of fun. But you know, it also depends too. Like, you know, there's a few ways to do it. What was the? You can also do it by poly paint as well, I believe. Not poly group, poly paint. Is that it? Or is that, no, it's just mask change points. Yeah, mask change points. There you go. Which could be done by color. So, sorry, my brain's thinking about 20 other things. And then you can also do mask by shapes, right? So if I have a mask, here's all your mask functionalities. So you can actually do, you can actually do like mask a perfect circle, but you can come in here and you can drag this out, and then you can turn around and say, hey, I want to mask this. I want to use this alpha to do this, or this to do that, right? And you can do this at like as much as 100% shape as possible. So if you grab this guy, sorry, go here, grab this mask here, boom. So you can drag that out. And again, you can just have like a big mask size, boom. So there's a bunch of ways to go about doing that. Masking it's just all about pressing and holding control and then masking a certain thing. Also too, if you guys didn't know, you can do more with masking. You can actually do mesh extrusion. So you can create custom shapes. Now you can't have any subdivisions for this, but there you go. So you can mask based on this shape. If you want this to follow the head, the actual head 100% of the time, then what you need to do is come up here to the very special, it's a very, very special menu that 99.9% of you ignore this one. I can almost guarantee it. And that is Picker. And Picker is so amazing. It's my best friend in the whole wide world. But come over to Picker, and under depth, you have, and I've talked about this before, if I press and hold control, you have a few things where it's like 1C, meaning whatever the first point is a contact, that's where it's going to identify. But if I do continuous C, boom, done. Now it follows this head shape 100%. So I can make custom meshes literally on his head that follows at 100% because the continuous Z is continuously updating, just like this. And you can even get more clever with this. If I were to not move my camera whatsoever, so boom, we're gonna lock it, and I wanna do a nice head shape like this. And then I wanna extend this. So I'm gonna drag this out here. I believe if I hit Control, or Shift, it will merge that together. So I'm pressing, holding Control. You can let go of it, drag that out. If I wanna extend this more, press and hold Control, press and hold Shift, and that will actually weld that all together. So Control, drag, get my main shape, press, hold Shift, let go, boom. And you got to make sure you don't move the camera for that. But that's a really good way to then. So if I wanted to drop a something on his head, boop, there you go. Now he has some oil on his head. Or Deadpool. What do you do? What am I doing to you? Boom. Little teardrops. Boom. Now he's crying. So yeah, and these have been here. If you are not on the latest version of ZBrush, you're on 2022.0.8, you have that functionality for you. And then mesh balloon, same difference, right? Start on a sphere, boom. Now he has a little bubble on his head. That's a little bit more spherical. And then of course too, you have Mesh Extrude Pro, which is like Mesh Extract, except for it's going to do more of an extrusion, which is pretty neat. And then you also have Mesh Splat. Let's get some blood on his face. Done. Right? Deadpool just like did his job, if you know what I mean. DED. So boom. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can do with that. So hopefully that was helpful. So yeah, it's all about just like where things can be there. Okay, let's go ahead and let's come back here to, actually, not chisel. Where is it? What's the one I want? Slash. I want /3. There it is. I think slash is, yeah. Yes. Slash, perfect. Okay. Let's come over here. Let's do that. So yeah, that's masking in a nutshell. And people who do it really fast, they're just really used to the function and where that lies. That's not doing it the way I want. Did I get rid of my morph target real quick? did not. Does this brush do it? Oh, it does, yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So let's do chisel. And actually, check this out. We're going to do this. I'm going to control that right there. I'm going to bring this in. I'm going to smooth this out. And then I'm going to come up here to adjust last. Push that in a little bit. There we go. We'll clean this up a little bit. It's really not my favorite line. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna do it within standard. Yeah, I just like the way that's gonna, like that. I like how that's gonna look. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot better. Use the pen pressure sensitivity to my advantage. I'll start with a light stroke, manually blend that in, and that'll give me a little bit more like that. And then adjust last. I can push that in like a little bit of a football. Okay. And now I can just move this manually a bit. So I'll just start pushing that in like that. And then here we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna, I should have matched my line. Okay, that's actually pretty close. It's good. Yeah, perfect. Boom. Like that. Push that in a little bit. Actually, should be fine. Oh no. No. Ugh. Okay. Well, that's fine. It's because I moved the mesh. Yeah, easy enough. All right, sounds good. I'm just gonna trace it manually. Want that just a little bit better. Okay, that should be good. Just like that. Beautiful. What's up, V? How you doing? Yeah, you can make error with that method. Absolutely. Lazy snap is handy for scribing continuous too. Yeah, absolutely. I failed to form. Ooh. Okay, did you? Good old damn standard, can't go wrong. Absolutely, yeah. No, one of my favorites. What's up, Leonard? How you doing, bud? How you doing? I'm good, man. Just working on a little trinket. Day one, perfect, man. Perfect. All right. Yeah, we're working on this little guy. This little guy. All right. Okay. Now we get to come through here and basically give him some seams, which will be fun. So we're gonna come in here, store this. And actually his resolution is very low for this, so we need to up it. There we go. We can come through here, kind of clean this up just a little bit. Sometimes just a little bit of TLC, a little bit of patience, a little bit of blending. This will start looking fairly decent. I'm not going to see half of that, so. Okay, let's start up here at the top, actually. So I'm just going to come through, repeat this line. I'm going to do this in one take. So we're going to come through here. Like that. I'm going to hit 1 to repeat that a couple times, get that nice and depth, get that nice and deep. I'm going to hide this here. I'm going to come here and try to match this. Not straight down. We want to follow the curve because it's a suit that has motion. That a couple times. There we go. There we go. Oh boy, look at that. I didn't do it with symmetry. How dare you? All right, let's see. That's okay. This will be easy enough to actually just mirror and weld that. Easy enough. Let me see something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go deformation, just mirror that. Should be pretty equal actually on this, so let's see. Boom. Mirror and weld and then reconstruct my subdivisions. Because it's already truly symmetrical, so that was easy peasy. Let's just turn symmetry on so we have it next time. And actually, because of that, let's just delete this for a second. Because of that, let's do a little bit of a cheat. Turn symmetry back off. Because we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. There we go. Let's go ahead and mirror and weld. That should connect that seam. Yeah, that works. And then let's just rebuild. Sometimes it's the easiest methods. There we go. Delete it, start over, just showed up. What's up, ML Creative? How you doing, man? Oh, good to see you, dude. Good to see you. Hey, my quick save is not saving files. It's either, earlier it was working fine, but now it's not saving them. Can you give me a solution? It's possible. Check your hard drive. Your hard drive could be wrapping up and being very full. So quick save is all about hard drive space. And I have almost a terabyte on my main drive and 4 terabytes on my local drive. And it's really simple to fill this up. So what you could do is actually, I would recommend, especially if you don't have anything in there that's 100% worth saving, it could be your hard drive. That's number one, check your hard drive space. If it's your hard drive space, if you only have like a few, even if you have like 100 gigs of free space, technically that's not a lot. You can fill that up with a ZPR quickly, because when it quick saves, it's saving a ZPR, a ZTL, and I believe it saves an OBJ. What does it save? It saves a ZPR. It'll save a ZTL. ZPRs get quite heavy quite quick. That's its main function. And then like it's always looking for like a recovery. So it's, yeah, saving a document, it's saving a ZPR, and sometimes a ZTL. So it's saving everything, and those get heavy really quickly. So what I tend to do is every once in a while, I'll come through here and actually clean up my quick save place. I'll literally just hit delete and get rid of that stuff. And if I remember right, you can manually do this as well. let me go file hunting real quick. Make sure it's in the spot that I'm thinking. So if I go here, and I think it's under users, I think it's under public. I can't remember if we changed it on the Maxon name or not. I think it's under public. That's the Pixelogic one. That's for my old one. That's the projects. 1 second. Let me see here. Might be under this name. Anyway, let me see here. Let me look it up real fast. I forget exactly the file location. I didn't remember if we changed it. Yeah, okay. It was under the public, yeah. So basically, so if I go to, need to go to my users. No, it's Windows. Go to users here. Yeah, and then under documents, so I gotta go public, and then I gotta go with public documents, and then here's where stuff lies. And then it'll be ZBrush data. So ZBrush data 2024, quick save. And then I just deleted that. Let's see if I have anything in my previous ones. 2023, I'm sure I do. Yeah, so here's some project files, and look at this. It's massive. Like that's a massive file. So you want to getting rid of this stuff right here. Like if you're not using it, going in, deleting it, and then when you delete that, you got to go manually delete that in your trash can. Wherever I put my trash can. Anyway, and that will delete those as well. So you want to free that space. It's still going. Nice, nice, nice. I always just do one quick save file for Max. Never really needed more on a crash. Gotcha, gotcha. I pin quick save. Yeah, pin your quick save to your quick start menu. That's smart too. Yeah, super smart. But yeah, but typically that's what this button's here for, to help delete with that. So check that first. If it was working and then it stopped working, it makes no sense for it to stop working. Trying to think of other solutions for you. It typically should be a hard drive space. I can't think of another reason why it would just all of a sudden stop working, unless you updated. Did you update and then it stopped working? Because there might be another update for you. If you're current, there could be another update for you in order to fix that. So that could be the other solution. Check to see if you have an update. But if you're on your older perpetual, then it's possible it's just the quick save thing. I can't think of another solution off the top of my head, so hopefully that's helpful. Okay. All right, we got some seams, which is good. We need his belt back. So let's get his belt back. That's his hand. Because I want to do his pendant next. We need to do his pendant. So let's actually do this. Let's come over here. Let's go belt bags. Perfect. So now we need his pendant, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go here, belt bags. Let's go insert, and let's do our cylinder. Hide this for a second. Perspective. It looks so cool. All right, let's hit solo for a second. Okay. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and actually get some topology on this guy, and then we're going to do a ZRemesh in our favor. So I'm going to go multiple edge loops. Say something like that. That's fine. Boom, boom, boom. And then now we're going to go here to ZRemesher. And what I want to do is I want to come up here to my transform, and I want to activate symmetry. and I want to do X, Y, and Z. So that it's going to do a little bit of everything for me. I'm going to just squish that down for a second. So I just want to have that. And the reason for it is because we're just going to go same. Just move that down, move that down. Tacked edges is fine. I want like some decent topology. There we go. So that'll actually work out really well. So I could turn that off. Perfect. That a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. And now let's just come over here. I'm actually going to go ahead and just go to, let's go to edge. No, let's not do edge loop. Let's just use our Z modeler for this. Let's just go ahead and get this and let's crush this down. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Maybe run ZBrush as admin or something. That shouldn't matter. It doesn't hurt, but that shouldn't matter. I've never ran ZBrush on admin ever. It's not a bad idea though. It could be a firewall issue, but that makes no sense if it was working and then not unless they install the firewall. But that's the beauty part is there is a support team. So you can actually reach out to support and they can give you a more in-depth look at what could be happening, because it might be something else. It could be, I mean, it could be a million things too, right? There are issues that, like, if you install your tablet driver or if you have a corrupted tablet driver or something like that, it could be preventing ZBrush to function correctly. So there could be more to it. You can always reach out to support, put in a support ticket, and they can help you out as well. Because sometimes you're just kind of shooting, you're just throwing darts in the dark. So that's possible as well. Okay. But hopefully you figure it out. I'm gonna come in here like this. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna mask this off. So I want like some straight edges. If I try to extrude this here, if I do this, like this looks kind of cool, and this is kind of what we're going for, right? But I don't like the bowing on this. I don't like that this bows a little bit. I want this to be more straight. So what we could do is cheat this a little bit. So we could just mask this off here, come in here with slice curve, and add in an extra line like this. So that's gonna give me an edge loop without slicing that, and I can mirror and weld that. And then I could come through here like this. And then I can do this. That'll give me a more straighter edge, which is what I'm looking for. Now I could also, we can move this line. So let's actually do that, because it's too thin in comparison to the rest of it. So let's come over here to move. You know what, let's just do this. Let's just come down, make that something like that. There you go. Even easier. Boop. There we go. That's a little bit better. And then we can actually do group by normals here real quick. And then we could just move this in a little bit so we can hold shift, make that a little bit more even. There we go. That's easy enough. And then let's give us some manual edge loops here. Say something like that. Hitting all the wrong buttons. Oh my God, stop, Ian. There we go. There's something like that, something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and just go to crease. And crease all. I'm controlling the way I like to control it with my own edge loops, so we're just gonna do that. You can delete that one and actually come in here and do this. There. That'll be nice and solid there. And then of course too, we can mask this one off. And we can just round that up just a little bit. There we go. So now we have that shape, which is perfect. Hey, what's going on, Hugh? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you as well. What time is it? It's 12:14. Nice. All right. So now we have this shape. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to use our mask extrusion. So let's go mesh extrusion, I mean. Oh, that's a funky line. I don't like that. Let's do this. Okay, I got it. Let's come here. Let's drag this out. Double tap Alt. Come in here. I'm gonna curve this. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be better. Okay, I'm gonna do this again. We're gonna come in here, double tap. There we go, that's better. So let's use the curve function on that. That gives me a little bit of some play. And then let's do this. Let's go ahead and split unmasked points. And then let's just use our move infinite and let's reshape this to be a little bit more cute. And let's even do curve, AccuCurve, not edit curve, AccuCurve. Come over here. Let's give me a little bit more of a point. There we go. Turn that off. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. Now what we could do is we can just literally just use the top segment here if we wanted to. Let's hit save. So if we go to save as, make sure, yeah, cool. Save. And then let's do this. Let's go over here to modify topology, delete hidden on this, and then we're gonna ZRemesh this. We could ZRemesh this, or we can actually, you know what? Let's do a little bit of topology on this. I'm just gonna manually. We can manually retopologize this a little bit quicker, I think, actually, because we could ZRemesh, but I want to see something real quick. I want to do a thing because why not? Why not? Let's go to V8. Let's do this. Let's grab this. Let's not hit solo. Gonna scale this down. Okay, cool. Draw. So we're gonna come over here to topology and edit topology. Right, so we can start drawing these out. And I can even, let's do this. Let's actually, can we do, yes, we can. So we're just gonna go ahead and do some points here. Oh, why did I do that? I'm gonna hit move here, and let's actually just move some of this. There we go. Let's go to draw size. Touch this again. Come here. We're just gonna manually do this. So if you want really clean geometry, this is the way to go about doing it. So I got this one that's going to connect to this one. Touch this empty space, grab this. Just making sure everything connects correctly. Oops, back up. Grab this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Great. Being very quick with this. Hit move. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Just back that up for a second. Hit draw. Grab these points here. Okay. Let's hit move and let's just reposition some of this stuff. So if you don't know, the way, when you touch a line, the way the arrow is pointing when it comes down from the big dot, that arrow is pointing, that tells you the direction to touch. So when you're coming through and wanting to make your shapes, this is how you can like just do it pretty quickly. So anytime I touch a point, it's telling me which direction I can actually click that. So if I go back to draw now and I touch this shape here, it's telling me I can go down in this direction. Can also branch off here. So if I follow the arrows, then it's just helping me add those points. Boom, done. There you go. That's close enough. That's good for what we're looking for, right? So then here, let's go ahead and just move. We can clean this up a little bit. Give it a little bit better spacing. I could have just ZRemeshed it, but this is like, because you can, right? Okay, so now that we have this here, if I go ahead and I have my mesh, right? And now from this point here, with this mesh here, boom, 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 boom. Let's go ahead and save actually. And I just hit save on that. There we go. I have this topology, which is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, come back here, turn that off. Go ahead and paste this in. Let's delete this guy. And I want this to be perfectly straight. This line up here at top. So here what we can do is actually do click curve. And that will just snap that pretty straight. Man, this music got really slow. Okay. So let's go back to ZModeler, hover over here, QMesh, drag this up. Let's now come in, I think it was V6, was it V6? So let's just add this one. Oh, I have solo turned on, that's what's going on. Okay. Come over here, that works. Oh, interesting. Okay. It's fine, let's do this. Let's go ahead and delete hidden. Actually, we don't need to do that. Let's just mirror and weld it. There we go. Perfect. We'll shift, have that snap up like that. There we go. Now let's add a crease. So let's come over here. Let's do creased. And we can do partial edge loop. Boom, boom. Just crease those edges. Let's do insert multiple edge loops. Actually, let's come in here. Crease. If we do uncrease all and then we just hit crease, it should just do the main edges. Yeah, perfect. Now we have that. Perfect, and that'll give us some nice topology for that. Bring that down just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. ZModeler, ZBrush's best tool. Hey, it's one of my favorite. Hey, Ben Vichar, how you doing, buddy? Hey, welcome in, welcome in. Everybody, you guys gotta say hi to Ben Vichar. If you don't know who he is, dude, he's the one who did that cheetah a couple years back on the ZBrush Summit. He's an amazing sculptor out of India. Say hi. What's up, Ben? We only got like 30 minutes left. We're actually making a belt buckle for this guy. All right. So now I also, what we can do here too is we can do a little bit of like different material setup. So we can actually come in here and let's do this. So I'm going to duplicate this mesh. I'm going to have this guy here and this guy here. So I'm going to let that sit on its own independently, and then we're going to go ahead and delete hidden. So go to geometry, obviously, modify topology, delete hidden, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, not delete hidden. Come over here, grab this one. We're going to go to this one. There we go. That's what we're going to do, delete hidden. Just make this the same poly group. Q mesh this up. There we go. So this way it's just a different material. Okay, and then the same thing too. I'm gonna come here and crease. So that's gonna give me some nice sharp edges. So then here I can switch this over. So I can make the inside, of course, do black. Let's go fill color black. Yes. And then this is gonna be red. And then this one is going to be, you guessed it, our off-white. There we go. And now we have his little emblem here. And then all we need to do is just merge it together. So merge down, that's fine. Merge down. And we don't need this Z-sphere anymore, so we can just delete that. Now we have this guy here. You look like you got a PhD in ZBrushology. Yes, yeah, I think I might have just a little bit. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. All right, and now we'll call this his buckle. Boop. There we go. There we go. We can extend that out just a little bit. Actually, don't mind that punching in a bit to showcase that it's, you know, that's a part of him. And we can even do one better, which is we'll come in here and we'll kind of pull this out just a little bit. Actually, instead of pulling that out a little bit, let's do this. Let's actually just grab our ZModeler, come in here, press and hold Shift, and extend that. And then when we hit D for dynamic, we'll just push the middle in a little bit. Yes. Yay! There we go. That's fun. That's fun. Now he has a little buckle there, which is pretty cool. All right, let's take a gander at what we got going on here real quick. Let's review our work so far. It's important. Okay, we need to make the coffee cup. That's actually what we need to do. We need to make the coffee cup. If you guys don't remember the concept, and I haven't pulled it up in a little bit, so let's stamp this guy over here. Let's do this. So save as, come in, hit save, and then let's do this. So let's pull up, if we go to texture, import, here is the coffee cup. So I used to drink a ton of Starbucks back in the day. Like that's what. So we need to make the coffee cup. That needs to happen. So I'm gonna put our concept over here. Boop. There we go. Okay, let's come up here to our brush. Let's go up here to our samples and spotlight projection. Okay, perfect. Now let's come over here. Let's do this. So we have our hands. So let's save next. Yeah, let's just delete this folder. We don't need this folder anymore. All we did was merge that. So let's move that back up here into the body. Just rename that hands. Hashtag enter. Okay, hit save. Let's come over here. Let's open up our belt bags here. Let's pick this guy. And let's do insert. And let's get our cylinder going. And then let's hit solo. Or we can just go to V8, not the drink. And let's come in, grab this. And then let's do edge loop and delete loops, because we don't need that. And then now we're gonna make our cup. So it's a pretty simple cup. And actually, based on the size of this thing, let's go back to V1 for a second. Based on the size of this thing, like it's almost as tall as he is, if not a little bit. So we need to get that scale first. So we're going to grab everything we don't mean to grab. So let's go mask lasso. Let's come over here, invert that, and then let's scale this down. Say something like that. Auto save, that's fine. We don't need that. Let's scale this up a little bit. We'll have it so the coffee cup is just big enough. And let's do something like that. Just a small little taper, of course. Okay, now we can come back here to the V8, grab that. And then we're not gonna detail 100% of the way. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna get just the main shape of it. So from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and Control-Shift-D, duplicate. And then I'm gonna put everything in a folder. So we'll call this cup. We'll just coffee cup. Kohi cup, okay. And this one will be the lid. Come over here, grab that guy, bring this up, scale this out. Well, let's try not to overcomplicate the cup. There we go. Say something like this. Very, very cool. Okay. This also has like some ridges and stuff like that, which is pretty fun. But let's get the hole in here first. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to grab our Z modeler. And we're going to actually make the hole here. So let's come in and let's just do this a bunch of times. Say something like that. And then we're going to repeat that. Boom. And then with the power of QMesh, this is also something that QMesh is really good at, is that if I were to get this hole right here and punch this through, because there was topology on the other side, it actually detected that and it punched a hole straight in. So going back, that one section, this is close to this. So with QMesh selected, we just did it. Why are you giving me grief? Why are you giving me grief? Oh, I did inner flat. Let's come back here. I picked the wrong thing. I switched on accident. Okay, great. So just make sure you have QMesh with polygroup all, and that will do that for you with that temporary selection. And then we just come in here, insert, no, zoom in, let's go insert, single edge. Actually, we're gonna give it a little bit of a lip. That'll be fun. like that. And then same thing on the bottom. I don't want this to break. Okay, great. And at the top here, let's just hover over this poly group. Boom. Get this something like that. And let's just go Q mesh. Let's give this a little bit of a lip. Say something like that. There we go. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty neat. Awesome. Okay. Now we have a little bit of rounding here. Let's prevent that from happening. So let's come over here, give us some edge loop support. Like this and like this. There we go. Now I'm gonna want some of these like textures. Like it might be a little bit hard to see, but if we come over here, blow this up, you can see here there's little indications of divots that are happening. So we want the exact same thing. So here, what we can do, best way that I want to do this is actually go to Inset, and then let's actually do this real quick. Let's go poly groups, group by normals. So we have different normals now. Come in on this normal here. Just gonna turn off symmetry for a second. It's fine. I'm gonna go Inset. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's come over here to poly group, checker, touch that just like such. And on this line here, I'm gonna go poly group, boom, get those different colors. All right, perfect. Now we're gonna inset these independent ones like such. I'm gonna touch that like that. Now we're gonna go Q mesh. Push this in a little bit. You can have something like that if you wanted to. Yeah, that's fine. Can be a little bit round. That's cool. And we'll bring this up and we'll push this out. Yeah, sure. Something like that could be kind of fun. Now let's get the rest of this design working. We also can minimize this. So we can divide once, delete lower. There we go. Yeah, we can divide once, delete lower. And then when we divide again on the smooth, it will actually give us something a little bit like that. So that could be kind of cool. The world's your oyster. And now here we have 1, 2, 3 steps and then 2 more steps at the bottom. So let's come over here. We're just going to insert our own. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. 1 and then 2. Right? And then here we're going to go ahead and give this different poly groups. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and Q mesh. We'll start pushing this in a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's don't do that. Let's not push it in. Let's actually extrude it out. Just be easier. So we can do a bigger extrude. Say something like that. Extrude this one just a little bit. Actually, let's just do, I'll do Q mesh, but let's do this. Let's do a line. Let's come over here, insert multiple edge loops. Let's do one here. Yeah, like that. Give me some ridging that happens. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. Gotta try something here real fast. Okay, yeah, we'll do a little step like that. So let's actually do this. Let's make this insert single. Let's come in here like this. Let's push this down like that. let's do the same thing. Add a line here and push that down like that. Okay, cool. And now we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with crease and crease our polygroups. But we can also have the crease level pretty low. There we go. Yeah, that should be nice. A little bit of fall off there, which is pretty cool. Hey, what's up, Layla? How are you doing? Oh, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Deadpool's looking pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with him so far. How are you doing? Okay. We're gonna give this cup a little bit of flair. So most of these cups, underneath the surface, there's like a little bit of like a little divot. So we're gonna go ahead and give it such, say something like that. And we'll do something like this, like this, like this. Boom, multiple edge loops. Right here, boom. There we go. I'm good, thanks. Working on a personal project at the moment. Awesome. Personal projects are always fun. Okay, very cool. All right, let's give him the straw. Okay, so we have the cup. Simple enough. We have the lid. Now we need the straw. So we'll make it the most difficult straw we can possibly make. Yeah, let's come over here. It's just a simple green straw. Should be fine. Should be fine. Wait till I find a way to complicate this. News at 11. Ian complicates straw. Watch me. I'm thinking I could do it. Thank you for so much inspiration, sir. Absolutely. So happy to be a part of it, man. 100%. Okay. Trying to I was immediately like, okay, here's what we could do. If you want a hole in this straw, oh, come on, we can complicate this all we want, but like it's just a tube, but it's just a tube, I promise. But what we could do, we could draw this out and go to edit mode. And then we could absolutely, I told you I was going to complicate it. I could come in here to initialize and give it an inner radius. I could also too grab the other thing that's in there. See, it's how we complicate stuff, right? So then coming back to the shape here, you can literally just come in here at this point and then just insert. And then of course now we have our cylinder with a thing, bam, just like that. Now it's more believable. Yeah, it's a bit more believable. Okay, cool. Told you I was gonna do that. And let's go ahead and delete this one right here. Let's come over here. Let's rename this straw. But we're not done yet, because you know we have to absolutely bend this thing. So we're gonna come in here, and we're just gonna go over here to bend curve. Add in a couple points. Just give it a little bit of a bend. There we go. There, now it's not so straight. I can't stand it just being like straight up. I just can't do that. I can't do it, Captain. Okay. Now Deadpool's in a cup. He must be happy. Let's go ahead and hit accept. Gonna just deselect all of this stuff. And then we're just gonna move this cup behind him. And there we go. Say something like that. So it's on the same plane as him. Perfect. Just lining it up to the floor. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're gonna come through here and now we're gonna start coloring it. So let's do this. So let's go ahead, and in the concept we have it as a green. So we got, we'll get a vibrant green straw. Boom. And then let's go ahead with a somewhat white. Boom. And then this one as well. Let's go ahead and just do boom. Fill color. Now here, what we should do. Okay, has a green splotch on it. We could poly paint that, but where's the fun in that? And actually, you know what we could do? Thinking about all the different things we can do to make our lives a little bit more interesting. I can bring this up. There we go, yeah. And let's bring this down. There we go, say something like that. Give it a little bit of a flare there. Like I said, we could absolutely poly paint this, but I don't see the need in that. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our mesh project as a drag with a circle alpha. I think that'd be cool. Oh, is that gonna work? Oh, that's not gonna work, is it? Oh, that's fine. You know what we can do? Let's just do perfect circle. Okay, that's fine. There's just not enough vertices here to do that, actually. Let me see something real fast. I'm curious. As I complicate life in itself, let's do it a little bit more. Let's go insert, let's go circle 3D. There we go. Let's go to our V8. Let's go ahead and grab this color because it's the same color. I'm gonna subdivide a couple times. Delete lower. Perfect. Let's just do this. Let's go to dynamics. Let's turn off gravity. We don't need the picker anymore. Inflate, we'll keep that pretty low. We'll collision volume this. And then let's grab the cloth transpose. So that's right here. There. That works. Okay, that's a bit big though. So let's do this. Let's just scale this down just a bit. So let's just grab classic here. Let's turn that down, say something like that. Yep. Get that stuck on there like such. And then I'm actually going to come over here, grab the select. Just gonna do a smooth relax here. Okay. And then we can extrude this out. Come over here, Q mesh. There we go. Say something like that. Come back over here to classic. Throw that in there. Control Shift D, duplicate that. 180 degrees. Have that on the other side. Done. Get rid of that. Let's come back here. There we go. All right, all right, all right. All right, we only got a couple more minutes. But let's see where we got. So let's go ahead and just kind of look at everything as a whole. It's always important to do so. Again, just kind of, you know, you always want to check your work, see where you are. I triple check everything. And then tomorrow I'll hate most of it, but that's how that's how this works. Actually, with the lid here, let's do something with the lid real fast. With the lid, we're going to do something here. So we're going to come in here, we're going to grab this, and then I'm going to hit Control Shift S and shrink that down just a little bit. And then I'm going to give it a new poly group. So this way I can actually give this a little bit of a lip. And actually we can grab this one here, give this a different poly group. No, let's not do that. Let's not complicate it. That's fine. I just want to push this in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to give this just a little bit of a lip. And that's going to help me when I scale this down. It's going to give me just some more believable shadows too. Perfect. Yeah, I'll take that. That looks nice. Oh, thanks. Hello, what's up, Jay? We're about ready to wrap up here, but let's go ahead and take a look at everything. Okay. All right, perfect. Go ahead and hide that concept. Let's do a little fun render real fast, just because, you know, it'd be cool to do like a little turn. So let's come up here to draw. I'm gonna dock that on the right-hand side. And then let's go ahead and pick 85 millimeter. Okay, that'll be fine. I want the pivot point based on the character. So I want them to turn like that. So that'll be pretty cool. And then, so right now, there's not enough floor information to give me good shadows. If I were to hit this right now, you can see here, like I'm getting something, but when I go to soften this, some things could get a little bit weird. So we can always grow our floor. So under that draw size, we can grow our floor and tile size, which will just help give a little bit more resolution to that. Now, it might be a little hard to see right now, but even still off over here, we'll see that that'll give us some nice stuff. And then let's open up the light. And we're gonna do a very simple 2-point light setup. So we're gonna do this light over here, turn this backlight on, kick this in the back, and just have like a nice rim light flying in. And for the rim light, he's Deadpool. So he's red, so let's give him some complementary colors. Maybe we'll give him a little bit of a blue. So why not? That'll be fun. Can bring that intensity all the way up. And then here, I never go true white, but I dial that down just a little bit. So we can have a little bit of something like that happening on him right now. And of course, you could change this to whatever you want. You want a deeper blue, you want more blue like that. Then you can have a little bit more of a blue highlight, which is fun. So now, once we have this done, we need to change the shadow information because the shadow's not as good. So we could also throw in, I'm curious, it's been a little bit, I usually do this with Redshift, but let's give it a shot. We can always turn it off if we don't like it, but let's go up here to texture. Let's go up here to panoramas, and let's see something real fast. Let's pick up an EXR file type. So let's get an HDR. Let's turn that off. Does that give us a little something something? Does it help us out? Is it minimalistic? No, it's not doing much here. Okay. That's my redshift habit. That's fine. I'm not going to do redshift right now. We'll just stick with the normal lighting setup. So let's do this, and let's go up to, we have our lights. Let's go up to render. Let's go up to BPR shadow, and this is where we're going to adjust this a lot. So we're going to go 0.5 to 0.55 with raise at about 24 with an angle of about 35. These are kind of like my go-to numbers for this, just because I really think it's like super important to come in and actually see like the lighting information needs to feel a little bit more realistic, and it's a good way to like soften this up a bit. So you can see here now we're getting some softness, which is happening, and I like that. So we also do want some ambient occlusion for this. And sometimes in ZBrush, I think it's kind of neat to throw in just a little bit of wax. It's just kind of like a preference. I think it looks kind of cool. And the way you can do that is go up here to Material, Wax Modifier, and just turn that on a bit. And that can bring just a little bit of, just a little bit more something to the table. It's like very subtle. Depends on the material you're using too. So like here, we can do like, we can pop in like a Skin Shader 4. You can adjust this stuff if you wanted to. So completely up to you. And on this main light here, we can actually increase this a little bit. There you go. And if you want to get fun, we can add in a third light here. Again, with a little bit of white, just to kind of fill that in. We don't want to go too much, so what we can do is turn off these other lights and see where this one is going. So this one can come up from the top here. Okay, that's looking nice. Now if we introduce this, does this blow out the scene? And if it does, we need to adjust. So we're getting a hot spot right here at the very top. So we can adjust this back down. We can even throw this a little bit more over that way and a little bit more over this way. This fill light, you got a fill light, and then you have your like your main key lights. So I usually take my fill light to be a lot softer, not the same strength. So I have my main, this way it just illuminates a little bit more. Here's with it. So I'll turn this on too. So here's with all three lights on. You can see what's going on in this information. As soon as I turn this off though, you can see how much more darker that gets. So you want to be able to expose a lot of this information. So having that on, so it's like a 3-light setup, pretty simple approach to it. A lot of photographers just dive into this, which is cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be 3D printing him as well. So he's going to have multi-projects. He's going to be 3D printed. We're going to end up posing him, and then he's also going to be rigged. So I want to be able to animate him. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So this will be pretty good. Now we're just building for our final render before we shut the stream down. And then here, now that we have something that's, I like this pretty well. I think this is pretty good. So now I'm going to go here to BPR filters, and I'm going to turn on my noise, and I'm going to get one of my favorite filters was radial overlay, the modifier. And the reason why is it darkens the background and really separates your character from everything else. But you can choose to have a different color. So like we could put a dark blue in the background. It doesn't have to be black. So it can have a little bit more visual interest if you would like. So completely up to you on that. If we go back to our lights here for a second and go back on our rim lights, again, we can brighten this up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. That's looking a lot better. Now I like to add a little bit of sharpening and a little bit of Orton to this, which is nice. You could also bring in some fun little textures. So the other thing too is because, you know, we're going to want some ambient occlusion, but we also want some detail depth. The other thing you can do is under render all the way at the bottom, because it's BPR rendering we're doing right now, we can turn on occlusion and get some intensity. So here's preview occlusion off and on. That's really going to make that pop. And that will be pushed into the render a little bit. So now this is with that preview AO turned on. which just gives you a little bit more, like I said, popped information. And that's kind of my setup here. That's actually not too bad. And then of course too, we have our perspective turned on, which is good. So let's go ahead and let's just save this real fast. So I'm gonna hit save. Okay, we got our main render. And then here, all we need to do is of course, come up here to our movie, come in, hit my document size, title, image, we'll turn that down. Don't need the logo popping in, but if you have a custom logo, you absolutely could bring one in, or you can just turn it off. And then, yeah, we're good to go. And then we can hit turn. So, all right. So that is going to be it today. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to, one more thing too. If you want to show off your, like if you want to do a color term, but let's say then you want to show off your geometry because you're like really proud of it and you like what's going on here, what you can do is turn on your wireframe. I'm going to lock this for a second. Turn on my wireframe and I'm going to drop it down to the lowest subdivision. Turn off your wireframe, turn that back on, and then step all the way back up. Oh my God, I just did that wrong. So step it down, turn it off and back on, and then step all the way back up. And then when you hit render, it's gonna show the wireframe on everything but the lowest wireframe on its own. So here, let's actually, we don't need this to be, yeah. Yeah, his body's actually pretty dense, which is pretty cool. There we go. So here we can actually say, come over here. Let's actually do this. Let's go subtool all high. Boom, make sure everything is at the highest resolution. Kick this one, turn this off, step this down, and then off, on, step this back up. So now when I hit render, it'll show the lowest version of that. And then I can even turn off fill. So now it's just showing the wireframe. And actually what probably happened on why the body looks so dense right now is because I did a mirror and weld on it. And I think it's still kind of that method. So actually here's what we could do to fix that here. Let's come in here real quick. I'm gonna unlock this just so I can see what's happening. Because I have this nice high topology here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna step this down to the lowest. I'm gonna delete. I'm gonna subdivide, subdivide, subdivide. And then I'm gonna project my details back. I'll actually subdivide one more time. I'm gonna just project all my history back on this. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay, so now we have this guy right here. So let's do the same thing. So turn on my wireframe, step down to the lowest, grab this, turn it back on. There we go. And now if I hit render, there you go. You can start seeing the lower topology. Now his body's a lot more dense than his head. If we wanted to even that out, that's simple enough. Let's come up here to geometry, just step down before the lowest, just delete lower. And then you can step that back up. And then you can just go ahead. And you can also go to preferences, you can go up to draw and make this a little bit thicker. Make those lines thicker. There you go. Boom. Now we can see a lot of this wireframe. So we can render out everything and show our wireframe, show what we're going, hiding nothing, which is fun. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. And what's also fun too is if you wanted to show like the wireframe and like a clay render, you can literally turn off all the color, make sure you're on pure white, and then you can just pick like a matte cap or something like that, right? Or a standard material actually. No, matte cap should work out fine. Yeah, there we go. Just turn on the matte cap. And then wireframe. And then that will show the matte cap with everything. So you can do it that way too. So you can turn off the wireframe, get all the color information back on, pick whatever material you're rocking, which I think we were rocking normal skin shade 4, and so forth. All right, there goes my rants for the day. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, was this skin shade 4 or was it this one? I think it was this one. Ah, 60, yeah, it was this one. All right, great. All right, everybody, that's going to be it. Are you going to have another ZBrush process like this from start to finish, not too far in the future? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is what I basically do. I come in and I actually do full projects because I think it's important to have a series of them. And this, we did all of this start to finish. Not a single piece was done off stream. And actually, that's something I want to do, is actually put this all up as a full-on like start to finish series. So in total, I think we did this in about 3 to 4 streams, maybe-ish. So, and I go for about 2 to 3 hours at a time. So, you know, we're still, I would call this still very early stages if you're talking about like anywhere between 8 to 10 hours of work, you know, so this would be like equivalent of a day's worth of work for you. So yeah, but it is fun to go through this process. I super enjoy it, and hopefully you guys too. So, all right, everybody, that is it. I will be rendering out this turn, wireframe and all, to show them off on my Instagrams and stuff. So if you follow me on IR Sculpts, then you can get all the good stuffs and things. You can see all my stuff. But thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. It's amazing. Again, I'm here as the ZBrush master trainer for Maxon. We try to teach ZBrush and have fun with it and showcase how easy it is to just come in and create your stuff. And I have a lot of fun doing it, and thank you guys for coming in and hanging out. That being said, I will let you guys go, and I'll see you possibly next week. Next week should still be a stream, and then after that I'm in NAB. So if you're at NAB, definitely come by the Maxon booth and say hi, because we're going to be doing some fun stuff, like maybe some 3D printing stuff, and then so forth. So I will see you guys next week. All right, catch you guys later. Bye.